Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us on this holiday Monday. We have with us Austin FC head coach Josh Wolff. And if you'd just like to raise your hand in Zoom, I will call on you if you'd like to ask a question. So we'll start with Mike Craven, followed by Chris Bills and Kyle Dalton. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Coach, when you go back and you look at that game and the 4 goals, was it better execution? Was it, I guess, what do you assign that explosion from after not seeing that many goals in a little bit?
I think it's a little bit of, better execution, better awareness, more calm. Again, I think our 3 games at home, we've performed really well, and we created a number of similar instances that we scored on the weekend. So those are the positives. The first 2 games, we just didn't have the goals to reflect the quality that we were providing. And in this game, obviously, prior to the goal, we again put them under pressure, created a number of great situations, and the first one breaks the seal. And again, I think you see some confidence, and you see certainly some clarity as to what we're trying to do. And obviously, we've had different personnel in each one of these games, but I think John did a very good job, as did Diego. Our front 6 did a great job, and so did Hector and Z. They gave us calm and quality in entry passes and circulation. And then when we found ourselves in those moments, again, you could see Hector at the end of the game in the 85th minute, just the calmness and the composure to pull it off. But also Jared Stroud, we talked a lot prior to this game. We sat in for about an hour and 15 minutes of a meeting, just walking through what we were creating and how good we were doing in certain moments, but then lacked that final bit. And for Jared, he pulls that ball down and finds Hector rather than rifling one across the face of goal. So, I think those discussions, and we're not able to work on it as much during the week when the games are coming quickly, but we still do try to incorporate it in some fashion. But the video becomes powerful, the classroom becomes powerful, and I think that really helped us. And again, I think, it was applied in a good way on the game against Portland.
Thank you, Mike. The next is Chris.
Yeah, Josh, we talked a little bit about the tactics after the game on Thursday, but how much of what we saw was situational with, those spaces that you thought you could get into against Portland, particularly like the half space and like those moves that you were just talking about with Jared Stroud, and how much of it is just finally having the personnel with, Danny Pereira being healthy and some of the other things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, Danny Pereira gives us, again, another, he's had, I've said it to him a couple of times. He has a good ceiling, a high ceiling, and we're going to keep pushing that for him. And, we'll see where he can go, but his calmness and quality on the ball takes some of the load off of Alex, and also introduces and incorporates Tomas in a different way, and Diego for that matter. So it was really nice to have him back out on the field to give us a little bit more balance and calm and quality with the ball, but not just passing the ball, but dribbling the ball through lines. Diego, again, to me has been one of our better performers, most consistent performers, having him in the pocket, whether it was in our 4-3-3, him as a 10 or as a winger coming inside, he's going to have that awareness and flexibility for us all the time. And, again, Tomas and Cecilio, we got access to those same pockets. We played Kansas City a number of times, so we've moved some guys around and changed some structures. But we were constantly getting into these areas and having these types of moments where we can get at a back line, whether it's 5 against 4, 4 against 3, or 6, whatever it may look like, and just weren't pulling off the plays. So I think a combination of pulling off the plays and having better awareness, better calmness, and final ball. And it was good. I was really happy for the guys. It's been a long time coming, and again, I think breaking the seal kind of eased their minds a little bit.
How much can you play with personnel and kind of get into those same spots and play a little bit of that? I guess the main question I was sort of wondering on the rewatch was, is there a point in this season where you think that we might see 3 in the back with all 3 center backs, or
yeah, sure.
how can you play around with that, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I think you want to do those things when, for me, you want to look at what the opponent does. Is there a need for 3 center backs? That means you're changing some of your structure and personnel, but I could certainly see us playing with 3 backs. We've already talked about it internally, but you got to work on it. And when you have 3 center backs, it means you're going to have a less one less somewhere else, unless you just organize it differently. But having Alex drop in, having Tomas or Diego drop in, there's things we talk about when, again, based on what the opponent's doing, that has a lot to do with what we're trying to achieve structurally. And then with our personnel, we're trying to utilize our players' best qualities and put them in places where they can succeed. And you already mentioned having Diego and having Danny Pereira back obviously helps. It gets two really quality players out on the field together in around Alex, in and around Cecilio and Tomas. And now you really start to see the game come to life, and they have personality and character. And again, we continue to learn about these guys as well, but within our framework, it's nice to see some of the progress. And again, Z and Hector did a very good job, very calming effect, very good understanding of when to progress, when to move the ball inside, when to recirculate. So it was good. It was a good performance, and we just got to keep building on it.
Okay, so next up is Kyle, and after him we'll go to Zach Smith and Jorge Iturralde. So Kyle, go ahead.
Hey, Josh. So first of all, could you give us a status report on John Gallagher? And then secondly, I would like to follow up after watching the game again and seeing him get hurt in, I think, the 6th or 7th minute, and then he goes down in the 25th minute. And I remember in the press conference him talking about just grinding it out, trying to get through so you didn't force you to use a sub. Just talk to me about the kind of character that you've brought in, the culture that you're developing, that, this guy was clearly in pain and he fought through it just for the team to get through, thinking about that sub. And obviously he was rewarded with the first goal. So just talked about that whole scenario, please.
Yeah, it's I mean, we saw him take the knock as well, and you could tell it affected him. John's a warrior. He's a runner. He's a worker. He doesn't ask, too many questions. He knows he's got flexibility within the way we play. He's played as a striker. He's played as a winger. And now we're utilizing him again. Can he play in pockets? So we're trying to evolve and utilize his skill set as well. But his ability to run, his athleticism and speed is something that's very useful for us, both sides of the ball. And when he took the tackle, we obviously saw it. And, it was throughout the half, you could see him kind of niggling at it. And it was causing him to limp a little bit. He came over literally right before he had to come off. He came over right before the goal. And you could tell it was bothering him. But I heard him talk about it afterwards, and I've spoke to him about it as well. He knew he was in a little bit of trouble, but certainly didn't want us to have to eat a sub prior to half. So for him, he's a grinder, he's a fighter, and he's got that spirit. We always joke around with him. He's got his own little personality that we kind of poke at and prod, but when he's on the field, he competes. He wants to play. He wants to win. And most importantly, he wants to perform and help his team. And, I think he did just that. He grinded through it, and again, got in a good spot there and finished off a great play. And you could see him start the play out to Tomas, move into a pocket and almost settle down, almost slow down, and let Diego come across that front post to drive the line down. And he found himself in a good spot. So physically, you like that he was able to get through it. I think, the prognosis is it's going to be a little bit. He's walking around gingerly at the moment. So we'll just have to see how he progresses. But, I expect he'll be out for a little bit.
Great. Zach, you're up.
Cool. Thank you. And hey, Josh, you've talked a lot before about kind of transition for new players to MLS, kind of getting used to the league and the travel and the physicality and all that. I thought, Tomas, Danny being a rookie, I thought they've played really well the last couple of weeks, Danny just coming back. But now that you have a portion of the season behind you, how would you grade that transition and how they're kind of progressing on that front?
Yeah, I think it's ongoing. I think both, as you mentioned, Danny's just now coming back into it, but his ability to come into this league from college as a 20-year-old and having not had so much experience in this professional environment, he's done really well. And then he took a knock, MCL, PCL. He was out for about 6 weeks. In getting reintroduced to the game last week, and then certainly against Portland, seeing more significant minutes. His quality is evident. His calming effect on our group is evident. And also it brings in players like Tomas and Diego. And again, understanding what he and Alex can do as two center mids. And if we have to move guys around with Diego and Tomas and even Cecilio, the transition is made easier because there's a willingness to work. There's an openness to learn. And for me, and for us as a staff, it's trying to coach and teach and see if we can continue to evolve his game. He's 20 years old and he's got, real potential, but he has to keep getting better. And Tomas is 26 years old and he still has to keep getting better. And that's the dialogue that we've been having the last couple of weeks. Let us help you. And here's how we're going to do it. And, I think it's coming along. It's evolving. It does take time. And we may not see the best of Tomas for a little bit, but he's getting better and his understanding and application of the game becomes more and more evident each game. And on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. And we need them. We need those guys. They're the way he can run and press and win balls at times, the way he can drive, Tomas and Danny Pereira is very influential for us. And then it's also having ball security, good decision-making and good responsibility. But they're doing a good job, but it's evolving. Whether he's a 20-year-old or 26-year-old and he's played in major, and playing in Argentina or played in college, they're good players. And they still have to continue to develop and continue to grow. And that's also part of our job.
Great. Jorge, go ahead.
Hi, Josh. Last week before Portland, the conversation and everything was around the people missing, the injuries and everything. What will be the challenge for LAFC this week?
I think there's a number of challenges. I think offensively, LAFC they haven't put up the numbers that they typically put up, but they're still very dangerous. They usually score a lot of goals. For them, they're probably, they haven't scored as many goals as they would like. We're probably expected to, but you still have Rossi, you still have Vela, Baird, Atuesta, K will be missing, but Blessing. They've got lots of quality that can hurt you offensively. So first and foremost, we need to understand and know what they want to do and how they want to utilize the ball and try to hurt us. And then on the flip side, we got to have a real clear idea of what it's going to look like when we have the ball. They have changed their structure from a 4-3-3 to a 5-3-2 at times. So we'll just have to see what they bring. But they're very much in the middle of the field physical and they win a lot of balls. So we got to be mindful when we're playing in there, what that looks like. Our positioning, certainly ball security is a big part. You lose the ball in the middle of the field against them, you're in trouble. But we certainly provided some opportunities last time we were there. It was our first game in the league. We probably didn't have as many clear-cut chances as we'd like, but we did create enough chances and we put ourselves in a position to come away with a point. Here at home, we want to drive the tempo. We want to use the ball and we know they're also good with the ball, but we want to do some things that we'll ask questions and try to move them and challenge them. And we think we'll have ways to certainly create goals. And ultimately, as with any game, those goals can change the implications of the game. So we look to stay aggressive at home and try to create some situations where we can score.
You just mentioned it was the first game. Any special kind of revenge feeling for this game?
No, we just want to keep progressing. We had a good performance against Portland. It's one game. And hopefully it gives our group confidence. We played really well in our 3 home games. Good energy, good intensity, really good mentality. What we come out with, how we come out and try to drive and dictate the game. And again, I think the last game we were rewarded with some goals. The first 2 games, unfortunately, we didn't get the goals. So we left some goals and points on the board. But playing at home in front of our fans, and obviously the way that we want to play, we expect to come home and get results. And I think the guys are in a good space right now, and we'll just have to see who's healthiest, who's fit enough to turn around and give us the best opportunity to get the result we want.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll go to Ruben, followed by John at Fox 7. Go ahead, Ruben.
Thank you, Will. Hi, Josh. Congratulations for the win from last week.
Thank you.
And it's in some conversations you have mentioned the word developing the players, and a third of the season has gone. How much of that development is going to be influential in this second game and against LAFC?
Yeah, I think it's it's obviously the development is something that happens over time, but there are certainly situations that we've looked at. Our last game against LAFC, we've looked at a number of their games, most recently, obviously against Salt Lake and Kansas City. So having an idea what they're going to be about offensively and defensively, we'll introduce those ideas to the guys tomorrow. But we've started with some of our, some of the things we want to do in training today, preparing for it. So trying to put in the ideas and create a clear picture as to what it's going to look like for all of our players from the moment we have it. till we don't have it and we need to get it back. So that development is ongoing. It's ongoing, but it's a lot of that has to be based around our game model and our principles of play. So when I say that, development for our players evolves around just that. How are they individually going to fit into our collective idea? And what qualities do we need to continue to develop, both technical qualities, but mental qualities? And, that's something that takes time and it's growing. And I think we've seen that growth with a number of players, but, you also see it by playing the games and what they're able to take in and how they're able to apply it. So it's an ongoing process, but I've liked the growth of our group so far. And like you said, we're a third through the season and we're doing okay. There's still plenty of progress and things that we got to work on and get better at, but we're moving in a good direction.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
John, go ahead.
Coach, you were talking about the growth of this group. What's the major differences, or what stands out about this group that you've seen since that season opener as they go into this second game against LAFC?
Yeah, I think you just don't know what it's going to look like when you start out at the beginning of the year. You have these ideas and you play some preseason games and they're not really against a couple MLS teams and some other ones. So now when you hit the ground and you play LAFC and Seattle and Kansas City a couple of times and you get into the meat of it, you get to see exactly who you are. So from that standpoint, I've enjoyed seeing our guys, the willingness to go into other environments and play and compete and have the urgency to take the game and push the tempo. And then on the flip side, as we've come home, we've certainly upped that idea. And now when we are at home, the focus and the speed by which we play, the intensity and mentality that we start games with and push for has been really nice to see. And I think it's growth amongst the group, a good understanding of how we want to play, but also the intensity and the mentality that has to be there, throughout the week of training so that you come in fresh, ready to go. There's been some games where we certainly lack some energy, but, expected. It's a long season and you're on the road a good bit for us in the beginning of the season. But I think we're hitting our stride. Obviously, maintaining health and getting guys back to good health is going to be a key as well. But again, the growth has been there and it's going to need to continue. It doesn't get any easier. We just have a little bit more familiarity with the players, but also with the opponents. And we'll keep strategizing week by week, but good opportunity against a very good opponent. Again, we'll see them. This will be our second time. So they're familiar with us and we have a little bit of familiarity with them, but it won't make it any easier.
And the way that they've played the last few matches, is that what gives you a feel of you like your chances going into this one?
Well, they're a good team. They've shown flexibility as well. I think they've played with a 5-3-2. They started that way against Kansas City. They've brought it into the mix in a number of the games. So they seem to be best in a 4-3-3. That's their most comfortable, most familiar structure, whether they have the ball. Again, when they have the ball, the structure changes. They move around. They have, similar to us, they have some fluidity in position, but we have ideas of what they're going to be. They're going to be missing a couple guys and obviously that can affect them, but they have quality throughout their group. And more importantly, our guys need to understand there's going to be opportunities for us. We can certainly hurt. We can hurt LAFC as well. We have to be aware of what that looks like and then take advantage of it. And when we don't have it, know the key players, know what the movements are that they're trying to do so that we're prepared and ready to go.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, John. And thank you to Josh Wolff for your